Okay, so guys, I'm going to do a little revision, a little bit of a kind of retrieval practice, and I'm going to do it on verbs. I want you to watch what I do, and then I want you to use this technique to do a little bit of recall in your own revision, okay? So we're going to look at los verbos, or I'm going to look at verbs, and to date, I know I've seen 3 tenses, okay? So I know we've looked at the preterite, and I know we've looked at the preterite, which is the past. I know we've looked at the presente, the present. And we've looked at el futuro, the future. So by this stage in our Spanish learning, I should be fairly confident at talking in Spanish using those 3 tenses. Okay, so let's just think back then to the different people. Okay, so I know I've got yo, which is I. I've got tú, which is you. I've got él or ella, which is he or she. I've got nosotros. I've got vosotros. Sorry, nosotros, which is we. Vosotros, which is you plural. And I've got ellos and I've got ellas, which is they. Okay, so I know for every single tense, I need to know 6 endings. Okay, the other thing I know about Spanish verbs is that there's 3 types. The ones that end in aor, eor, and ior. Okay, so my aor, eor, and iors, my aor, eor, and iors, my aor, eor, and iors. Okay, and what I can kind of remember about these tenses is on the past tense, I remove those. So I take off the aor, I take off the eor, and I take off the ior. Okay, so right. Okay, so now I'm going to see, can I remember what the endings are? Okay, and everybody should be able to rhyme these off fairly well. Okay, so my aor endings I know are a, aste, o, amos, astais, aron. Okay, and if I was to form a past tense sentence and say maybe I was using the word hablar, literally I would take off the aor and I'd say hablé, I spoke. Okay, so I'm fairly confident with those. Okay, the second thing I know or I can remember about past tense is eor and ior have the same ending. So it's e, iste, io, imos, estais, hieron. Okay, and if I was to take, for example, an eor verb, I know the verb beber, to drink, beber, and if I wanted to say I drank, I literally take that off and replace it with an I, bebi. Okay, so just in my head, that's my little revision or my recall. Do I know the past tense? Okay, moving on to the present then. Present tense, I know it follows the same rule as the past. So I remove the aor, eor, ior, and I replace it with a certain ending. Okay, starting off with my aors, it's o, as, a, amos, ais, an. Okay, o, as, a, amos, ais, an. And if I was going to conjugate a verb, I'm going to use escuchar this time. And I wanted to say I listen, take that off, escucho, I listen. Okay, my eors, very, very similar, but it's o, s, a, amos, ais, an, perdona. Ay, perdona. N. Sorry guys, that should be an en. Okay, and then my ior endings, o, es, a, emos, ais, n. So if I had an eor verb down here, we'll say comer, and I wanted to say I ate, it would become como. And if I had an ior verb, vivir, and I wanted to say I live, vivo, en Dublin. Okay, so that's my quick little recap of past and present. Okay. Lastly then is future. So I know future is a little bit different, in my opinion, I don't know about yours, but it's the easiest tense. And I know I keep the aor, the eor, and the ior. And I also remember there's only one set of endings for each of them. Okay, and them endings are a, as, a, amos, ice, an. So if I had any of those three verbs we've looked at, hablar, comer, or vivir, and I wanted to put them into the future, I keep the full verb, the infinitive, okay, el infinitivo. I don't take off the aor, eor or ior like I have done with those other two tenses, and I will speak, hablaré. I will eat, comeré. I will live, viviré. Okay, so that's just a quick, 6 minutes, recap of my tenses. Okay, so I'd like you to bear this in mind, but in a day or 2 days' time, I want you to try this, refer back to this then and see, can you remember them the same way? And I want you to keep going until you can do this exactly the way I've done it and all of your endings are correct. So everybody is confident speaking about the past, the present and the future, because they're the three key tenses you need to be able to use in your exam and in life. Okay, but at the moment we're just thinking about the junior cert, even though it's a little bit away. Okay, so any questions, ask me, but ya está. Bien hecho.